What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We have several things to go over here that you need to know about here. First, there's a potential rail strike that threatens to kneecap the U.S. economy ahead of the midterms and could cost us significantly if it happens. A potential freight rail strike is looming, threatening to cripple the U.S. economy ahead of the holiday shopping seasons and November's midterm elections. Roughly 115,000 rail workers could walk off the job as soon as September 16th if they cannot agree to a new contract with railroads. That's the first day workers could legally strike after a White House appointed panel released collective bargaining recommendations aimed at ending years of contentious negotiations. 5 of the 13 unions representing rail workers have reached tentative agreements with railroads to enact the Presidential Emergency Board recommendations, which call for 24% pay raises, back pay, and cash bonuses, which seems pretty good to me. You could let me know your thoughts on that. 24% pay raises, back pay, and cash bonuses. Seems pretty good. But the bulk of railroad workers belong to unions that haven't yet agreed to a deal. It's also unclear whether workers would vote to ratify the PEB recommendations that don't address their concern about punishing hours and rigid schedules that make it difficult to take time off for any reason, which does not seem good to me. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments. Quote, I would suspect that most railroad workers would love to strike. I would love to get back at their employers after years of abuse while they watch the industry make record profits, said Ron Kamenkow, an organizer at the Railroad Workers United, which represents rank and file railroaders. More than 9 in 10 railroad workers would vote to reject the PEB recommendations and go on strike, according to a recent survey from the organization. Now, here's what's interesting. Federal law gives Congress the power to block or delay a railroad strike. But workers could walk out. If workers were to walk out, lawmakers could vote to enact the PEB deal or appoint arbitrators to fast track a new contract among a range of other options. But if workers walk out, then that's that. The Association of American Railroads, which estimates that a national rail shutdown would cost the U.S. at least $2 billion a day. Wow. And said that lawmakers should vote to implement the PEB recommendations in the event of a strike to instantly reward employees and reduce the economic certainty. Experts said that an extended walkout would devastate industries that rely on freight to transport grain, coal, diesel, steel, motor vehicle parts. Shipping containers would pile up at ports, severely congesting supply chains, sending grain prices soaring ahead of the holidays, along with probably prices of almost everything. The railroads are actually very critical to the nation's economy and also to security. There's a lot of hazardous stuff that simply can't go by road. Also, over the last 6 years, top freight carriers laid off 45,000 employees, especially over the pandemic, or nearly 30% of their combined workforce, according to the Surface Transportation Board, that left trains understaffed when demand picked back up, leading to service disruption and overworked crew members. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts. This is all we need now, right? As if prices at the grocery store and in the stores weren't high enough. Could this be another major blow that we have to deal with? I'll keep you up to date. Next up, Senator Bernie Sanders vows to oppose a controversial Senator Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin's side deal, which was part of the Inflation Reduction Act and is now coming to fruition now and might be part of the government shutdown deal. Here's what Bernie has to say. Senator Bernie Sanders yesterday on Thursday blasted the side deal that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Remember, Bernie's an independent. He's not a Democrat. He'll blast Democrats. He'll blast Republicans. Sometimes he'll agree with Republicans. Sometimes he'll agree with Democrats. In this case, he's blasting Democrats. He's blasting Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Democrat Senator Joe Manchin. He's blasting the deal that was struck earlier this summer to pass a controversial proposal to make it easier to develop fossil fuel-based energy projects. So this is what Bernie is saying here. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told reporters Wednesday that he plans to attend Manchin's permitting reform bill to the stopgap spending measure that needs to pass by September 30th to prevent a government shutdown. Sanders slammed the agreement as a, quote, a huge giveaway to the fossil fuel industry, and angrily warned that it would undermine President Biden's pledge to reduce carbon emissions by 50% by the year 2030. Bernie Sanders says, quote, I rise this morning to express my strong opposition to the so-called side deal that the fossil fuel industry is pushing to make it easier for them to pollute the environment and destroy our planet, Bernie Sanders has to say. He said the legislation crafted by Manchin would make it easier for the fossil fuel industry to receive permits and complete what he called some of the dirtiest and most polluting oil and gas projects in America. Wow, that's rough. Bernie does tend to tell the truth. I feel like you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. He added the bill would speed the approval of a pipeline spanning from West Virginia to North Carolina that would, quote, generate emissions equivalent to 37 coal plants or 27 million cars each and every year. Wow. That's unbelievable. He says, quote, really, at a time when climate change is threatening the very existence of our planet, why would anyone be talking about substantially increasing carbon emissions and expanding fossil fuel production in the United States? Sanders asked. Sanders said he understood the power of oil, gas, and coal companies in our corrupt political system, but called on his colleagues to vote against the deal. Quote, pairing permitting reform to a continuing resolution, the CR, the government funding bill, gives it a very good chance of passing, even though opposition is building among progressive House Democrats. Schumer said he promised to pass the bill in exchange for securing Manchin's vote last month for the Inflation Reduction Act, which will invest more than $300 billion in programs to combat climate change and further develop domestic energy production. Permitting reform is part of the Inflation Reduction Act, and we will get it done, Schumer said. So Schumer is trying to hold true to his word, but if the votes aren't there, there's nothing that can be done. So Schumer's trying to do what he promised he would do, but if the other people don't vote for it, it is what it is. The Democratic leader admitted last month that he was not thrilled to agree to the permitting reform, but he noted that it could help the development of renewable energy projects as well as those for extracted fossil fuels. In terms of the permitting reform, I didn't like it, but it was something that Senator Manchin wanted, Schumer told reporters in early August. And in fact, it has some very good things for the environment as well, It's going to make permitting easier for clean energy as well. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here on this. When it comes to energy, gas, oil, coal, solar, I'm a realist. I don't lean too far left and I don't lean too far right. I realize that we need gas, we need natural gas. If you've been watching my show here in the last couple episodes, I've actually been covering this a little bit. I don't cover this too much, but in the last couple episodes, I've covered it a little bit. Um, but we've been using coal less and less and less for our energy production on the grid, as have countries all around the world. It's just kind of less we've been using, but we've been using more natural gas. Okay, it's a clean burning fuel, but natural gas has spiked to 14 or 15-year highs in price because of what Russia has cut off Europe from their natural gas here significantly, and that has caused the price to spike here. And unfortunately, a lot of homes here in the US use natural gas for their home heating fuel. So even though we don't get any natural gas from Russia, the price of natural gas has spiked because of that. And the price around the whole world has gone up. So you might not be using natural gas right now this second because it's still summer. But if the price stays high when winter comes, the price is like more than double than it was 6 months ago. So we're all interconnected here globally, worldwide. It's a global economy more than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. So gas is very expensive, just like oil, gas, diesel, and gasoline. Um, this is why, Senator Bernie Sanders, he's more concerned about the pollution and stuff. A lot of people like you might be more concerned about the price. Different people have different opinions on this stuff, but price wise, it's going to be very expensive this winter if the price holds. And Putin is using it as kind of a blackmail against Europe and indirectly against the United States. We're not buying any gas from them, but indirectly he knows that it's affecting us because the price is sky high. Okay. He doesn't care. He's a multi-billionaire, so it's not affecting him. But this is the problem with using fossil fuels. The pollution, but also the price affects us. So when you go to heat your home this winter, when you go to fill up the gas of your car, it's just becoming more and more and more expensive. So you can let me know your thoughts here on this. But this is why governments around the world are switching to other things because of climate change, whether how much you believe in that or not, but also because of the price of it, because we're not beholden to people like Putin, who at any given time can blackmail us and say, we're not going to send natural gas and oil and stuff to even Europe. And then directly, as soon as he says that, he can spike up and really Saudi Arabia and OPEC. OPEC just said we're gonna cut the production of oil 100,000 barrels a day, which was actually not that big of a not that big of a production cut. Imagine if they do it again by another 100,000 or 200,000, and they spike up the cost again of oil. This is the problem with oil and gas and natural gas. So this is why governments around the world, including the US, are building more solar, building more wind, because guess what? When you have solar and you have wind, and it's now starting to account for more and more and more production of our energy, at least for our grid, it will mean that the governments won't have to use up as much of the natural gas and the gasoline, which is a good thing, because when the government's not using millions and millions of barrels of gas and natural gas, that means that it'll keep the price down more. Because if the government's using all that gas and energy, it's going to put more demand there. Supply and demand is a large part of it. Okay, and we don't want to see prices continue to go up. It's going to be rough on everybody this winter. I mean, look at how rough the prices at the gas pump has been. And this is kind of the problem here. I wish I had solar panels on my house, and I didn't. I'm sure you did too. Imagine if you bought solar panels 10 years ago on your home and you didn't have an electric bill. A lot of people that did that are like, yeah, that was the best thing ever because a lot of people have, they've paid them off, or they don't have an electric bill because some people actually have a negative electric bill. They put solar panels on there, and the solar panels generate so much electricity that they actually sell it back to the grid, and they have a negative electric bill. I know it's amazing, but I don't have it. I wish I did. In Ohio, it's a little. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it all that much, but I'm not sure if I get quite enough sun. Ohio, it's 6 months of winter time here, but yeah, this is kind of the problem here. It's just the fossil fuels is just they're ever going up in price. We've just seen $5 gallon gas. If you're in California, maybe seen $6 or $7 gas. What do you think it's going to be in 5 more years? It's most likely going to be even more expensive. What do you think it's going to be in 10 years? More expensive. Well, the sun and the wind is free. I mean, once you have the infrastructure up for that, that's a good thing. But if Senator Bernie Sanders votes no on this and other people vote no on this bill, could put a wrench in Senator Manchin's plans. I also have an update here on Florida. Remember, Governor Ron Desantis said he wanted to provide a massive tax cut. And we were kind of wondering what might happen with that because Florida doesn't have state taxes. Well, we're getting some information here. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Florida is one of the big four states population-wise. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis seeks to expand toll discounts. So let me know your thoughts on this. Here's the details on this. Let me know if you think this is enough or if this is just one part of this. After establishing a 6-month program to save certain commuters about $10 a month on tolls, Governor DeSantis now wants to expand the program next year. As he campaigns for re-election, DeSantis said he will ask the legislature in 2023 to give frequent SunPass and ePass users a 50% monthly credit for a full year. We're very fortunate that when you lead the nation in tourism, those folks pay taxes. And that's part of the reason we can have such a low tax burden statewide and do a lot of this. DeSantis said that the proposal could affect about 750,000 Floridians. I love how each state has their own name for people who frequently commute and save an average commuter about $550 a year. Lost transportation funding would be made up by tapping a surplus of state general revenue. So it could help Floridians who commute a lot, $550 a year. Can let me know your thoughts on this. The other program that went into effect on September 1st, it looks like, offers discounts of 20 to 25% for trips on many toll roads already for people that use SunPass. Discounts start to be calculated when motorists hit 40 toll transactions in a month. That is expected to cut state toll collections by $38 million. I assume this is just one small piece of what Florida wants to do. Florida had an over $20 billion surplus. Same thing with Texas. California has a up to $1,050 stimulus check that's coming out here starting as early as next month in October. New York did a $2 billion property tax refund and just did a $3,000 check going out to some people as well. I'll link you to that video here. And there's multiple different states that are sending out stimulus checks here. There's up to 31 different states that are sending out stimulus checks, tax rebates, property tax refunds. and tax reductions here. I'll keep up to date here on all these going on here in our country on a daily basis. So make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. Click the bell icon after you subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this video here to see the checks going out to up to $3,000. And here is the video with checks going out to millions of people in multiple different states. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.